2001 through 2007 Mercedes C230 thermostat replacement. I'm Brian Esser from How to Automotive. I'm going to walk you step by step through the process of changing out the thermostat. The first thing we need to do is get this air snorkel off. And to do that, there's a little clip right here holding this clamp on. So you'll remove the clip, then you'll pull the snorkel off here like this. And then there's some tabs that you're going to squeeze here. Right here, they're right here. So you're going to squeeze those tabs and then pull this off. Now you can lift the snorkel out and set aside. So right here on this housing is the thermostat connected to the hose here. And if you look, the timing cover here is leaking oil and leaking onto the thermostat here. And that is causes a lot of problems. It can cause the seal to leak. It also can cause the thermostat housing itself to get brittle and break apart. So to properly fix this, you need to fix the oil leak also. It's about 4 hours in labor to do that. I recommend you change it. In this case, the customer did not have the money to fix it and he just needed to get his car back on the road. So we're going to get started by removing this hose here. You're just going to pull the clip up here and we're going to pull the hose off. Before you do that, you want to jack up the side of the vehicle and then slide a bucket to catch the coolant underneath the vehicle. And then you can pull the hose off like this by wiggling it and popping it off. Now with an E10 female torque socket here, we're going to remove the two bolts holding the thermostat on. I'm using my Milwaukee M12 ratchet here. It's 3/8 drive. This to make quick worker jobs like this. So go ahead and spin these two bolts out here, the top and bottom here. So once you get the two bolts removed, you're going to just grab the housing and wiggle it and pull it off. And I'll show you what I mean by the housings can get brittle. In this case, when I was pulling this off, the actual housing broke in half, as you can see here. So only half of the housing came out. The other half of the thermostat housing and thermostat is still inside the cylinder head, so we need to dig that out. So that's why it's important to get the oil leaks fixed. So now I'm just going to try to get the thermostat out with a hook tool here, and it's giving me a little bit of trouble. But what I realized was there's the O-ring is still on here, right here on the edge, so we're going to pick this O-ring out. And to get it out, I switched over to a smaller pick tool to pick the O-ring out. And then once I got the O-ring out, I was able to just take a pair of needle nose pliers and put it in there and pull the rest of the thermostat housing out, and it slid out pretty easily. Now you're going to want to clean this all up, wipe it out with rags, brake clean, whatever you need to do to get it all clean. I'm also going to clean the mating surface. I wanted to show you guys the part numbers for the thermostat housing and the thermostat itself. I will link these all up in the description of the video. I won't use the Board Warner one. I will link up a better part. That way, if you need the parts, you guys can find those there. So now we need to assemble the thermostat housing here. So the top O-ring here fits on top of the thermostat housing here. Then you'll line up the grooves in the thermostat housing here and then push the thermostat into the thermostat housing like that. Then I apply some Joy dish soap on this O-rings here to help slide it in. So a little dish soap works really well. So you'll slide it into the housing onto the block and you'll push it in until it seats, and then you'll start the two bolts. And you want the neck facing downwards like this. And then so I just ran these bolts in until they were snug. And to run them in, I went back and forth. I worked back and forth to draw the housing in equally so it doesn't cock it. So I went in little small amounts on the left, on the right, back and forth until the housing was fully seated onto the cylinder head. And then after it was fully seated, then I went ahead and tightened them down by hand. I just tightened them up about a quarter turn more where it's nice and snug. Before I installed the upper radiator hose back onto the thermostat, I changed out the O-ring on the hose here with a new O-ring. And I'll link this up in the description of the video also. So I put a new O-ring on it. And then what we did with the dish soap on there, I lubed it up. And then I made sure the clip was pushed downwards. And then I lined it up and then pushed it on until you hear like a click. You'll hear an audible click. And then you'll give it a pull to make sure it doesn't pop back off. After that, you can reinstall the air snorkel here. So you'll push it in and you'll line up the clip here. Put the clip and then install the snorkel on the inner portion. Once you got that all secure, now you can fill up the reservoir here with Mercedes-Benz approved 50/50 mixed coolant, and you're going to fill it up to this little slash mark on the inside of the bottle here. That's the full mark. So fill it up until that mark is level with that. And then what we're going to do is, before we start the vehicle, is wash off the coolant that spilled out everywhere. So I'm going to use just plain water and wash everything down. After that, I'm going to fire the vehicle off and let it run. And we're going to run it for about 10 or 15 minutes or so until this thermostat opens up. You'll feel this get really warm once it opens up. I'm also doing this with the heater on full hot with the fan on low. So once the thermostat opens up, you may have to double check your level here. It may drop a little bit, so you're going to top it off, and that'll complete the job. I will link up all the parts and tools that I use in this video in the description. I'm Brian Esser from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos, encourage you to subscribe, and invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. Thank you again for watching.